Innovative, revolutionary, stellar development, purest universal knowledge. In a transformative, futuristic design. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Our Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit is constructed from high-quality materials carefully selected by our team of experts. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. For the first time in the history of man, a system has been developed and delivered which not only enhances the physical body of the man, but also enhances the emotional part of the user of the system, hence reducing and eliminating many problems that could not be solved in the world of science, to bring the body of the man into near perfection as at the time of birth. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists, and healthcare centers. The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the future you have been waiting for, is here. The journey from space to spaceship technology has started. Every order is subject to a contractual agreement and might require additional accessories priced separately for applications according to each case. You can order or contact us at office@at.kfm.global for additional information.
Văd că m-a băgat la paneliști.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute's 37th Public Testimonial Meeting. This is Monday, December 9th, 2019, and it's our monthly testimonial meeting where you can share your experience in any language. I'm your host, Flint Mahausen, along with Rick Crammond and Peggy Hunter. Welcome, everyone.
Hi, Flint. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another testimonial meeting.
Yeah, it's another month went by really quick, and hopefully I'll have some good presentations today.
Oh, not hopefully. I'm sure we will. How do we wish to begin today? We have a couple of presentations, at least, that are scheduled in here.
Yeah.
We've got Alex. Alex Skoric has a presentation that on some of his work. And what else do we have, Flint?
Yeah, and also we'll have Carrie Ellis here today, giving us a nice presentation on stuff that she has experienced So, yeah, anyone can start.
Okay. Well, depending on if there's any time constraints with Alex or Carrie, and either one can go ahead.
Yeah, I don't see Carrie here just yet.
Well, then in that case, it defaults to Alex. And if Alex could be so gracious as to go ahead, that would be wonderful.
Hello, this is Alex from Canada. And, oh, good. I put an invitation out to a couple of friends in Serbia, and I just got a message that they're here. And it's a tag team event on the one thing. So, so welcome to this. Okay, Flint, now that you're here, I'm going to try and do this one more time. Okay. Yes, sir. We have the technology. So the first thing that I have to do, the first thing I have to do is I have to find my, okay, oh yeah, I know what I got to do. I got to share the screen. Okay, so would you allow me to do that, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Screen share. Okay, so we're going to do this one here, I believe, this one here. And then what we're going to do is, Flint, I went out and I've got a new computer. I got the wrong one, don't I? I have the wrong screen.
This is the teaching
Yeah,
testimonial.
you're sharing your whole screen rather than just there. That's better. We see your teaching testimonial first slide there. If you can make it larger, that would be better.
Okay.
Or just take it, in a different format where it opens it up. You could go with the zoom to maybe 200% might be better if they're all that size in your slides. In the upper left corner.
Okay, how are we doing now?
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Whoops, I still have a previous one. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm on the wrong page here.
Oh, that doesn't help.
You're good. You're good. It says teaching testimonial, new understanding.
I may have blown it up too much because I had a different screen in front. I had his actual PDF up here, so or PowerPoint. Yeah, it may have to be put back down smaller, but if it's fine that way, it's great. If they're all going to be included, all the slides will be included properly. So go ahead. It looks really good there now.
Okay, so audio, visual, okie dokie.
Really good.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I'm going to go back to the Intel format because I've been having trouble with my mouse. And so chances are, though, that today I might not have that trouble because everything seems to be working fine. I guess what's happened is I threatened the computer to retire it. And so maybe today it's going to perform better. But anyway, I welcome everybody. Thank you so much. It's in the afternoon here in Canada. It's about 2 o'clock. And this is the teaching testimonial. I'm one of the teachers at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. That was not something that I wanted to brag about in the past. Most of the people in my community are not very understanding. And you know what? They're still not understanding. But now I tell them right to their face what I do. And this is okay because it's almost going on 2 years now. Well, a year and a half for sure anyway. A lot of classes. And the thing about the teaching is Mr. Keshe has done phenomenal teaching, and in fact, he's probably taught everything that he can possibly teach at this point in time, and it's all in different sequences. You have to be a bit of a jigsaw specialist to put all the pieces of the puzzle back together again, but that's all right. The range of students goes from everything from a gardener, a chef, homemaker, to engineer, scientist, computer programmer. Everybody has an interest in this because this is one of the few technologies that, well, it's the only technology that's going to touch every single location on this planet. We've had many revolutions. We've had industrial revolutions, coal revolutions. Archaeologists have dug up remains and they've dug up dishes, and so they call them the ceramic era. That's probably what's going to happen to a lot of our history. A lot of the computers and other things will just kind of dissolve, wither away, and our pots and pans, our ceramics will probably remain, and people will be wondering how did we even survive, not seeing the rest of the history. And that's one of the things with archaeology is it looks at the artifacts, and this is one of the problems with small m matter state. Small m matter state as opposed to capital M matter state. And so this is what we talk about at the Keshe Foundation. There's a new understanding. There's a new terminology. So it's good to know the language so that you can communicate. And also it's a new point of view. A lot of us have already have this point of view, but most of us had the point of view of being in a small m matter state. And so that's what I'd just like to review with you today, because we are now at the crossroads where we have very few students. And I say a very few students because what we don't have is a massive quantity of students, which will soon be students because they'll have no choice. But you see, the simplest thing, without getting into all the details, is to understand that we have a single-minded purpose. And that is, when we create plasmatic fields, these fields work with peace. And when we say peace, what kind of peace? And that's peace on this planet and peace in this universe. And the reason for that is because if we don't maintain peace on this planet, we cannot participate with the rest of the universe. So the majority of the ways that we're conducting our society today is to prevent us from elevating ourselves into that platform. So to assist in that, because there is no timetable, there's no exam, there's not even attendance. It's all on a come as come be basis. And what we're trying to do is, or what I've tried to do is to organize it in a kind of a way that a new student can come in and look at the archives. And once they get over the shock that they don't have to pay $8,000 for a university education, and they find that all they have to do is pay €100 and learn about the new technology. And then they see the new technology and they will find that there are an awful lot of subjects. What I have personally tried to do is I have a lot of sympathy for people who are brand new to the industry. Because first of all, if you've never heard about it, how can you know anything about it? And the first thing that people want to do is to relate it to something that they know. Well, if you live in a world with horses and buggies, and someone comes to you with a car, and you've never seen a car before, you cannot comment. So the first thing that you have to understand is that the word car, it means something. Ignition means something, motor means something, wheels mean something, and steering wheels mean something. And of course, accidents and insurance and all the other stuff means something as well. So we need to know about terminology. And once we do that, then we go through rules, because there are a new set of rules. The rules on this planet are generally speaking for the wealthy. We have a lot of things that are unfinished sentences, like to serve and protect, begging the question, to serve and protect whom? So we need to know that sentences are complete with a thought and a period at the end, not half sentences. So we need to understand the rules. And the rules of the game have totally, totally changed. And so we're now in a transition where we're trying to experience the new rules and still keep and be mindful of the old rules. We have to understand that we're dealing with different states of energy. So the basic terminology is nano, GANs, and plasma. And then there's a confusion that comes across because plasma, of course, refers to all of these states. And, we understand about plasma in the blood and things like that. But when we're talking about plasma, we're talking about an extremely high energy state. And when we're talking about extremely high energy state, this is one of the things we're having trouble with the terminology. When we talk to people about advanced technology, they look at their cell phone and they say, oh, look at my cell phone. Look how good that is. And, that's not advanced technology. It's a 130-year-old technology invented by Nikola Tesla. So as nice as it looks and as expensive as it is, and with all the gadgets and gadgets that are on it, it's really, really old technology. What we're talking about is advanced technology. And that's one of the things about technology when it's advanced. It's advanced, way advanced. So it's very difficult to relate it to existing things. But there are some rules that transcend, and that has to do with the manipulation of energies. And these energies flow the way a river flows, but they also flow in fields. And the fields that we are most common with on this planet is our amino acids. We're part of the amino acid chain. And we learn about formations on how these plasma reactors work. We have star formations and amino stars. Energy is transferred through rays. There are other ways for energy to be transferred. And then, of course, we can create matter. And this is one of the burning questions that all of us have through all of our life. Where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going? What does all this mean? And most of us go through our entire life without having answered those questions. And this is the problem. Current science asks the question, why? Plasma science asks the answer, why? There's an interaction of plasmas. And with these interaction of plasmas, it creates a free plasma. And we are part of this process, you see. So one of the dangers that we have is that we as plasma beings, yes, we are plasma beings, and as plasma beings, we are susceptible to being robbed. And that robbing is of our life essence and our vitality, and it's called loosh. And so the business on this planet, by all the people who run this planet, starts with loosh harvesting, that is the sucking of energy. So I take from you gladly at your expense. I enrich myself at your expense. So the way I get richer is you get poorer. And to make sure that you get poorer, I take from you. So this is how things have been conducted on this planet for a long, long time. And unfortunately, that is going to change because that's not how energy is transferred in the universe. Energy in the universe is bountiful. The universe is benevolent. And you can take as much as you want when you need it. And you only get what you need when you want it. And we have 7 billion people plus on this planet, and they're all plasma beings, and they all have the same requirements, but they all are different. So same requirements, same environment, but all different. And this adds to the flavor of our planet. This gives us our biodiversity. And with respect to this biodiversity, we now may have a choice. If we participate with the rest of the universe, we find that energy is flowing. But if we get into a selfish environment, then we get into a binding. And so not only are people robbing us of our vitality, loosh harvesting, but when they capture this, they have to deal with it. They do not share it with the rest of the universe. They keep it for themselves, and as such, it becomes a binding to them. And that binding is extremely painful, and we call that loose binding. So the lesson really in the basic teaching, and we've discussed the merits of this, the lesson in the basic teaching is that energy can flow or energy can be bound, and you make that choice. So a lot of people have gravitated to the technology. When I say gravitated, I mean attracted. They've been attracted to the technology because of the prospects of a new form of energy. Little do they know that this also has to do with matter creation and how the universe is created and how we participate in the universe. So maybe we were forced to start that way, but the new lessons have been quite radical. So we were forced to get into more beyond basic and into intermediate teachings. And the word that keeps sticking out at you is soul. And so we find that we have a soul. This is the answer. We have an impact. The soul has rules, different rules from what we have on this planet. The soul interacts with the plasma states, which are an extremely high energy state, extremely high. Did I say extremely? Extremely high, like maybe 1,000 times stronger. Okay, so if you're 6 feet tall, you'd be 6,000 feet tall. We're talking about extremely high energy changes. But we find that we were born, we made agreements to come to this planet, and we focused ourselves on this planet. And so this planet only represents one dimension that we operate in. And so most of us settle for the lowest common denominator because we want things to be also simple. And we are the most complex organism on this planet, and we want everything to be so simple, warm and fuzzy. Well, we find that our science has had problems with mathematics. So we have a new neutron math. Our science has had disillusion on how matter is created. Our science is not really understanding the pulsation that is driving the energy fields. And it really doesn't recognize how our soul operates and how it senses everything. And as a result, we don't understand how energy is transferred, and we don't understand that there is a recoil. And this has been done on purpose. So what we're seeing is that the energy does flow in two directions. And so we as soul beings, we've come here and we're doing intermediate teachings and intermediate learnings on the deals that we've made. Yes, we did make deals. That's how we got here. How do you think you got here? You know, was it an accident? And energy is being absorbed all the time. And it has to be absorbed because you are consuming energy. Even by sitting and listening to me talk, you are still consuming energy. That energy needs to be replaced. So you're absorbing that energy all the time. One of the most shocking things that we learned on the intermediate teachings was that there are different levels of energy going right down to the neutron level, which is basically crashing the periodic table of elements. And in the teachings that I've been able to be part of, we needed to get into advanced teachings. And as you can see, we haven't progressed very far. So when we say advanced teachings, they're not really advanced. They're kind of an upgrade over intermediate. There are many more advanced teachings to come beyond this. But here are the things that we talk about in the advanced teachings. We talk about spaceships. Your body is a spaceship. We all know that, mythology and ufology and um, spirituality, and we talk about all these spaceships, chariots on fire and things like that. And then in the advanced teachings, we also talk about light basics. And I know it's kind of confusing, talk about the basics of light in advanced teachings, but because the light that we understand is so basic, and it is so limiting because it's only involved in the lowest energy state. And then we see that we have many starships, which gives us a variety. We have different ways of transferring energy. We have more information on light, how the light has actually a mass, and their interaction of plasmas now takes on a different light. And when there's light, then there's also dark. So there's light mass and there's dark mass. And we are wrapping up this year's teachings with advanced spaceship technology and trying to get a grip on everything that we've learned. So we want to utilize the awareness that we have, the terminology that we've accumulated, and combine that with three wonderful books. And hopefully all of you have read these books. Number one book, and this was a logical place to start because it talks about the universal order. So beyond Earth, okay, so there's a universal order, but it's a creation of matters. And so the question came into what kind of matters. So when we're talking about plasma science, we're talking about plasma matter, different from our small m matter, which is our touchy-feely world that we're involved with. When we get into book number 2, we're looking at the structure of light in a way that we really don't understand the structure of light. We've never been taught the structure of light. I say that because I have gone to a modern school here in Canada. And if you ask any Canadian teacher, we have the best educational system in the world, hands down. No bias there. But we don't understand how light operates. In plasma science, we do. And the light is a fundamental participant in plasma matter. Well, if we can grasp that concept, maybe we can answer the main question that all of us have, and that is, where did we come from? And if we came from somewhere, where did that place come from? So what we're talking about is the universe. And in book number 3, we're talking about the origin of the universe. And conventional science has a real problem with this one. But in plasma science, we answer that because we understand about plasma matter. So the first thing that people ask you about in the coffee shop is, I know you've spent 4 years learning about this subject and you've spent 2,000 to 3,000 hours, and that's being conservative. I know Rick and Flint have probably spent double that at least. And I wonder in 35 seconds if you can tell me about plasma. Not to be rude, it's just that I have a hairdresser appointment to go to. Okay, well, plasma is a kind of energy state. Simple. GANS is a kind of energy state, nano is a kind of energy state, and matter is a kind of energy state. And in this case, it's capital M, matter. So there you go. You have 3 different energy states, just like you would have 3 different floors in a building or 4 different floors in a building. You just have to figure out what is your point of view. Are you living in the basement or are you living in the penthouse? And this is the most important thing I will tell you right now. This is the most important thing for you to learn, because in the next 11 weeks, our warm and fuzzy, touchy-feely world is going to be turned upside down. And we're going to come to realize that if this thing, which I'm saying is extremely important, for a lot of people, they don't think it's important. Well, if this isn't important, then nothing is important. So we have to understand that we are at the crossroads between old science and new science. So basically, where we sit, our Earth is inorganic and we are organic. And all that means is, as organic, we're carbon-based, and the Earth is silica-based, so it's inorganic. That's the difference between organic and inorganic. And when we look at what science does, science needs to verify and validate using man-made means. That's the traditional way of verifying science. So if there is a man-made way to verify it, then it becomes part of conventional science. And that's why love has never become part of conventional science, because except for in some places in Georgia, there's no place, there's no way to measure love. You don't measure love by the size of the ring on your finger or the fact that you're driving a Cadillac or that you've got a mink coat. And love, courage, these are things that can't be measured. So there are a lot of theories out there as to how science works. And the trouble with theories is that they only need to be disproven once. And unfortunately, every single theory out there, except for two that I know of, have been disproven. And yet we continue to hang on to this. So we find that this is where science stops. So without this restriction, we can advance. And so what advanced science has done is said, okay, just because we can't measure it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because obviously it does exist. So we don't see birds flying around with rocket engines. We don't see mosquitoes flying around with propellers, right? We don't see dolphins running around with propellers in the back. So we see dragonflies, they can change direction on a dime. I'd like to see the most advanced aircraft or aircraft be able to do that. They can't do that. They can go fast, they can make a lot of noise, but they sure can't turn around and on a dime and go here and there and everywhere like a dragonfly can. So we get into what we call science, physics, chemistry, and biology, and we find that they're all very restricted because they all are based on the same thing. The traditional methods of science, many times based on false theories, and many times taking into account there are people who don't understand science. They don't want to talk about science. So they talk about spirituality, they talk about yoga, voodoo, and fortune telling. And this helps us with our touchy-feely world. It doesn't explain it. It just gives us a way to show that when we have this knowledge, we are a higher class. And when we're a higher class, that makes you a lower class. And so within this class, the low class, the small m matter state, we have three different states that we can really understand. I think we can all understand the difference between gas, liquid, and solid, right? So temperature is part of the equation. Gases are warmer than solids, solids are colder, and liquids are warmer. But we all know that it's possible to have a colder gas and a hotter solid. So within the range of that particular solid, between a range of that particular element, it can go through a solid, liquid, or a gas, and through its own range, it can be colder, warmer, or hotter. So it isn't to say that a solid is always colder than a gas. Each element can go through all three of these states. So, for example, we have gas that's hotter, but we can have dry ice, which is a lot colder. Well, speaking of colder, we can also have liquid nitrogen that's colder still. And then, of course, solids can be pretty cold, but don't put your hand on a hot stove. So we know that we can change from a solid to a liquid, and we can change from a liquid to a gas. And these are all very sophisticated things that we've learned in science, but you have to remember that these are all in small m matter states. So when we look at other states, we have to take into account that we have a mental state, emotional state, and physical state. You have to remember that we are part and parcel of this entire universe. So we have to be taken into account. A lot of scientists, like to debate the participant-observer relationship. Well, you cannot be an observer because you cannot extricate yourself from the universe. You are always a participant. Whether you want to or not, or whether you acknowledge it or not, is a no, never mind. You are always a participant. And so your mental state and your emotional state and your physical state will affect everything around you. And everything around you is called the environment. So we find that there are people who are very committed, let's say to their mental state. We say the mental state is a very high energy state. And so we refer to these people as brainiacs, scientists. And then we get into emotional states, and these emotional states are not as high as the mental state, but we find that salesmen tend to sell, the most successful ones appeal to the emotion. And one of the best salesmen on the planet, of course, are prostitutes. And then, of course, there's the physical state, which is the lowest state because it has the lowest energy. And in that case, it also demands the most energy to take care of itself. And so there we have athletes, but we also have bodybuilders and trainers and people who are concerned about their physique, Weight Watchers, and these are all things that we find that most people are just overcommitted to this aspect. So when we change energy states, we seem to be okay in understanding that we can change from a physical to emotional state, and we can also change our emotional to a mental state, and we can go in both ways. So if we take the two states that we're talking about here, the two different kinds of states, which we have plasma states, and we combine them with our physical states, so we find that there's a correlation between the dynamic plasma state, and we could say, well, that's our soul. Our soul is the overriding highest energy state. So each of these energy states are higher than the one below it by what we call an order of magnitude. And that is at least by 10 times. So if we were to drop down from our soul state down to our mental state, we could argue that we've dropped down by a factor of 90%. We're down to 10% in the plasma state. And the plasma state kind of relates to our mental state. So we know that our mental state is very, very fast because we'll see how it works when we get into our emotional state. And so that correlates to the GAN state. And the physical state kind of correlates to our nano state. And remember, we're talking very basically here. And so our matter state, it correlates to the earth, which is the environment that we're kind of contained in. And then we come into the small m matter state, which is what we term the visible reality, not the real reality, and doesn't take into account the non-visible reality. This is just our warm and touchy-feely world. But what we do know, and what we've learned initially, is that we can come from our small m matter state and increase the energy level as we go up step by step by step by step. And we keep increasing by an order of magnitude 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And we keep on going. And we have to say at this point in time that these are not the only states. So these are not this is very simple to just to say 10 times 10 times 10, 5 times. It could be 100 times. It all depends. So we learn skills on how to increase our various states of energy by learning about matter, nano, and GANs and plasma states. But we can also decrease our energy levels. And this is why we're on this planet. And this is why we have our body spaceship. And this is why we're here. We are in our small m matter state. So there are skills to learn how to increase the energy level and how to decrease the energy level. So it's a two-way street. The problem is, and we're not looking for problems, we're looking for answers. The problem is that it all depends on your point of view. So we live, and our science today is in a small m matter state. And so that is the lowest energy level, the visible reality. But we are plasma beings, and we have a soul. And this soul is the highest plasma state. And it's very, very dynamic. And when we say the highest plasma state with respect to our essence, our being, you and me, our soul is the highest energy state. It is not the highest energy state in the universe because you see, we are inside the universe. And then we also have an earth. And so the reality is that the earth has a soul and the universe has a soul. So we can bypass the small m matter state, the capital M matter state, the nano state, the GAN state, and even the plasma state. We can bypass all of that together by working on a level, soul level, which links up with the earth and links up with the universe and links up with other universal beings out there. And then we can go into higher and lower energy states that way as well. So this becomes the beginning of what is officially known as the matrix, because we find that the matrix is a multidimensional type of reality. And when we only look at the one angle and we say, well, this is the way that the world is, no, this is the way that our souls have created the world. The world doesn't create our soul. The soul creates the world. And that is the toughest lesson of all. And after all the lessons and putting everything together, the most important thing we have to understand is that all of us in here are together. Some choose to go the scientific route, others choose just to go into the basic knowledge route, but all of us are working together. And the reason for this is because on the lowest matter state level, peace cannot be achieved. And the reason for it is very simple. We can lie and we can cheat in the lowest matter state. That is the only level of plasma energy that we can do that in. So therefore, we can't do it in the other states. So therefore, the universe does not lie and cheat. And therefore, the universe has come to understand that there's an exchange system. And you give what you are, and you get what you need. So this is the foundation of the World Peace Treaty. Because when you have everything that you need, well, why would you need to fight? And when you understand the penalties that are associated with this type of control mechanism, penalties, I said penalties, heavy duty penalties associated with that, you won't want to do that. World peace will be absolutely what you wish to achieve. And as a result of that, Mr. Kesh has taken the plasma technology, patented plasma technology, and put it in public domain. So that means you don't have to go in the dragon's den and beg for money to use the technology. Spend the time, spend the effort, and learn about the technology, and understand that if your true intention is to exchange the technology in exchange for peace, then you as a knowledge seeker actually become a truth seeker. It's a little bit difficult for truth seekers to really grasp this because along with that comes a responsibility. So truth seekers then become difference makers. Not everybody wants this responsibility. And there are many reasons why on a small m matter state. But when you start to realize that the universe is a benevolent place and that the earth has called you here and you have a sense of purpose, then you not only can become a difference maker, you want to become a difference maker because suddenly life has meaning. And that's what we're trying to teach at the Knowledge Seekers workshops and at the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. It's been an honor. It's been an honor to serve the students who have come to my classes. And this is, you get a chance to discuss this in detail in the private teachings that we can't do in the public forums because the discussion is pretty frank. And thank you all for letting me make this presentation. And I look forward to your participation in the upcoming private classes starting in the year 2020. Thank you all. I'm open to questions if anybody has them.
Thank you, Alex.
Really great, Alex. Wonderful presentation. Really enjoyed it. You've done a lot of work in the last year and a half or so. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
That was a beautiful presentation. Thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, thanks, Caroline. I'm really glad that you made it.
Oh, I did. I made it. They
You
invited me.
you have a powerful hotspot.
Yes. And thanks God to the elevators got blocked. Otherwise, I would have not been so stable.
Yeah.
As I was just about to walk into the elevator, it just went freeze. Lights on and off. I said, I'm not walking in there. I'm going to wait. So that's why I turned up.
Excellent.
It's the last one, isn't it?
Tomorrow is my last one. Yeah,
Ah,
I have some surprises.
I mean, it's the last platform, and next year everything will change.
Well, I'm sure it's all going to be improved.
Of course it will.
Yeah, and I really want to give a special thanks to all the students who've put up with my classes. It's been their contribution has been tremendous. I also have to tell you that the big reward for me is that we've been able to discuss the plasma using the right words in the right context. So the students have come along, and a few have caught up to me and passed me, and they're doing.
Excuse me, Carolina.
Yes,
you'll have to
yes,
mute
yes,
when
yes.
he's talking because we can't hear. Thank you.
Yes, sorry.
I just want to repeat that a lot of the students have worked hard. They've caught up to me and passed me, and they're taking on added responsibilities, and they're doing this gladly because they have a solid foundation of knowledge, and they've been able to practice it. And so repetition, of course, is always important, and that's one of the things that I've been really doing a lot of is repeating and repeating and repeating, because I mean that's how you build. You have to have a solid foundation to build, and you know, our point of view has got to change. You got 3 bricklayers, and you just go and ask them, and you'll see what their point of view is. You know, you ask the first guy, say, "Hey, buddy, what are you doing?" And he'll say, "Oh, you know, that's a stupid question. I'm laying bricks. Can't you see?" And you go to the second guy, and he says, you already know that I'm laying bricks, so maybe you don't know that I'm building a wall." And you go to the third guy, and well, you must know something about construction. So I'm building a home. All 3 are laying bricks, but you know, their point of view is different. And so we get to choose. We do get to choose. What is your point of view? And so the new point of view is that the capability of what's going to happen on this planet is within our hands. And the reason for it is because many of the commandments that we've come to learn really are automatic in the plasma state. Automatic, because the many of the rules are there in the small m matter state because they only become available in the small m matter state. So we find that if our neighbors are working on the old principles and they don't want to elevate themselves, they're comfortable in their zone. Unfortunately for them, it's a binding, energy binding system, and they're going to be left behind because the plasma science is coming forward with an indomitable spirit. All of us have that. We're born with it. So it's nothing special. What's special is that we can become aware. And it's through this awareness that we can activate this so that we can enact the World Peace Treaty and allow the Earth to join the universal community.
Hi, Alex.
Hey,
It's Peggy.
Peggy.
You brought up the magic words, the World Peace Treaty. So how many do you have? Because as a teacher in private classes, you're always teaching. With everyone you come in contact with, you are always teaching. And in your small community, I know you have a large amount that come to you for knowledge. Can you talk a little bit about that? How many people in your town and how your community is growing in the way of the peace treaties?
Well, again, it's your point of view, right? When you say how many people are coming, it all depends on if you're inside or on the outside. So out of 7,000, 6,693 have come outside. At least 307 on the peace wall. But it's not a bad percentage.
To be clear, Alex, you got to explain a little better. What is the peace wall, and what do you mean 307? 307 what on what peace wall? Explain a little bit about that.
Well, the World Peace Treaty, all the students are asked to sign the World Peace Treaty. All the teachers and knowledge seekers are doing that too. And so the World Peace Treaty is not a petition, it's a treaty between us and the Earth. And it's to lay down all tools of aggression and war. And this becomes a contract between you as a citizen of this planet and the planet. And so I've succeeded in obtaining the World Peace Treaty is written out in 8.5 by 11. And I'm sorry I didn't include that in the presentation here. But maybe someone can bring it up and show it. I know Caroline has signed all of us into the World Peace Treaty on August the 2nd, 2019. And so I have personally signed in 307 in this community. And when I say this community, I have people here from Venezuela and Houston and Montreal and Vancouver, even though I'm in a small community in Canada. And so I plastered these all over the wall to kind of make a point because and people have taken notice. So a lot of people look at it and they run because they're seeing some dynamic happening. And I know many people, historians, are saying that 3% is a revolution. So I have over 4% of the local population signed in. So the revolution has definitely begun. And It's just being stated as a matter of fact. There's the World Peace Treaty. These are all the people who've signed it. We're bringing peace on this planet. We're bringing the new technology forward. And the peace comes in many different ways. The obvious ways is through warfare, but there are other ways through mental abuse and health abuse and just environmental abuse. So any kind of abuse actually is a kind of warfare. And this World Peace Treaty is going to transcend all of these things and is going to really be impacted by the Universal Body Enhancement Unit, which has been made public as of October the 10th. Because not only does that affect us physically, but it affects us emotionally. And it is this dysfunction between our physicality and our emotion and physicality and emotionality that is dysfunctional from our mentality and our soul state. And by restoring the vitality and vigor of the physicality and the emotionality to our youthful vitality, the way it was intended, we can impact this planet in a different in a different way. So what this does is it allows us to avoid getting into all the details of the small M matter state and elevate our souls and function in a soul state. And by communicating in a soul level, we can communicate with everybody around the world at light speed. That's how fast it goes. So you don't have to pick up the cell phone and, put on your automatic dialer or get on your email there and blast out a bunch of emails. You can communicate extremely rapidly on a soul level because there is a convergence of forces that's coming around this planet. So the manifestation of the World Peace Treaty is simply a matter form creation, a matter artifact of the intention of all the souls on this planet, because all the souls on this planet know that there's more. We've settled for less. We've settled for the least. We have to settle for more. We have to demand more because we are more. We are beings creating beings. We are created beings creating beings. We are part and parcel of the Creator. And we have that capability. And it has nothing to do with status or caste systems or preconditions. Nothing in this world either qualifies you nor disqualifies you from the future unless you allow it. And if we continue to graze the grass in the small M matter state, we'll never look up and see the sun shining from the dynamic plasma state that our souls are emanating throughout the universe. Is it that dramatic? Am I being over dramatic? I can't be over dramatic. That's the problem. Can't be over dramatic about this. This is the most important thing that's happening on this planet. Over to you, Rick.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Peggy.
Yes, thank you, Alex. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by
Thank
the
you,
way,
Alex.
if you've noticed, I don't sit on the fence.
It's because it's a barbed wire fence.
Yes, thank you, Alex. Wonderful insights. Okay, we have Carrie Ellis waiting to present also.
Okay,
I'm
that
just gonna
sounds.
end the show here
Mm-hmm.
and stop the. How do I? Okay, I have to stop the share somehow.
I got it.
Flint takes over, and that works all automatically.
Thank you, everybody.
Excellent, Alex. That's a good one for. That's been recorded for posterity and for eternity, perhaps. So thank you for that.
And a
People
good
can refer back to it, and if you become a student in KFSSI, then you get to look back on all of Alex's previous teachings as well, and get all of the details on the broad picture that he's painted. In spite of all the details he's put in, it's way more detailed than that. So here we go.
A good summary. Okay, Carrie, you there?
Hi there, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, very
Let
well.
me put my mic up closer to my face here.
Mhm.
Looks like somebody has some energy videos. I want to see those. Those look exciting. Yeah, that was a great presentation. Pretty amazing. I feel like this is just something a little after that, but I'll go ahead and share my screen if that's okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. This will stop others' screen sharing. Do you want to continue? Go continue. Oh, now I have the whiteboard thing.
Oh, you
Desktop.
chose the wrong one.
Oh, I did.
Got to reshare
Okay.
your.
Let me try again.
Reshare the.
Start share, continue. I don't see my choices of my own
Just
desktop.
scroll down.
Oh.
Your own. Well, your own desktop. Probably best just.
Should
to
I
share
go
the app.
desktop one? Share?
Do you have a second monitor? It's best not to
No.
show all your icons or anything. Just share the application that you have open.
It
Is it a
doesn't
picture
give me
viewer?
that. No, it doesn't give me that as a choice. I see this white thing that says desktop
You can
one
scroll
whiteboard.
down.
Can't
Can you
scroll down.
What do you want to share? Pictures?
I was going to share some pictures of ice.
Okay, open those pictures up in your Finder and then open up a picture in Preview and share the preview window.
I have a PDF open.
Oh, you do?
And I was going to
Okay,
put it
share.
on full screen.
Yeah, share that PDF.
Right, I just can't figure out. It says I am viewing Flint Mulhausen's screen.
Yeah, but in your other window, when you hit the share button, it should pull up a window that you can use to scroll down and find the PDF app that's open.
No. Allow Zoom to share your screen. Oh, okay.
What sort of system is it?
Mac.
I think it's not letting me. I have gone in and reset my settings, but I don't know. You want to go ahead and do somebody else quick, and then I'll see if I can.
Is that a Mac with two screens or just one?
Just one.
Is there anybody else that has a testimony they wish to speak about?
Accessibility, Zoom.
I have a question because what about detachment? If we are detached, we don't interfere with our surrounding. So then we are not interfering with the
phone. So can you close them, please?
Hello?
No, it's not to you. It's to the others that there are too many microphones open.
Yeah, I got them.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Arno.
Okay. In the teaching was told that we always interact with everything around us, but Mr. Cash have given us the gift of the knowledge of detachment. And if you detach yourself by starting to get less evaluating, you reach the moment when you elevate through time and to the go into the work with that kind of behavior. Then you can detach yourself from the environment, and then you don't interact with the environment. Then you can see how things are working, and I think that is the child of universe, because before you learn to talk the language of the universe, you have to understand how it interacts. And because when we are observant with our emotions with it, then we entangle ourselves with that field strings, and the conditions change. But when you don't follow it, it's you are not there, but you are there. Like the lion goes to its prey, he's not there, but his physicality is there to try to not to let the prey feel its awareness, its presence. And that is the same, that if we observe and we don't evaluate, we just are there to see, even not to see, but to experience, then you don't interact conditions to it. And then you are detached from the environment, and then you can see how things work. Then after, then we have the words, like we talk words, then we have the features. We understand why they think those things happens, and then you can manifest conditions which are desirable. I just want to share this because otherwise maybe it was wrong understand. Okay, thank you. Very beautiful, Alex. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Arno. Okay, does anyone else have any questions or comments on previous things we've seen or heard? Attendees would have to put your hand up so we can recognize you, and panelists can go ahead. We had a question in the YouTube from Brian. If the DNA is elevated to a higher state, what happens to the probiotics in our gut that we live off of their waste? Thanks for the info. Can our probiotic enzymes go to a higher level? That's a big question. That could go to what about all the bacteria and various other levels of life that we find in our environment? Does everything get elevated? Even the lowly mosquito? And what happens when you have an elevated mosquito? What does that look like? Or does everything just look the same, but we see it on a different level? Perhaps it's more like Alex says, it's a matter of perspective, a matter of point of view.
May I try to answer that, Rick?
Sure.
If you look to the nanostructure of the body, you see little balls in the different glands, and they create different fields. And if you take the principle, because we feed the food, we take the energy out, But if you give energy, you also receive the essence, the software program in the layers, and those will be attracted in the little cell blasts that create their own gravitational field to take that soul in. So that soul can re-manifest itself as enzymes and as other creatures. And if you elevate yourself and you give freely, your own radiation can take that place, because they are like stem cells for the body, but then you have stem cells for the souls of the body. That is when you give freely with no attachment. And then the physical body can give the conditions, and you already have the soul to receive the conditions. And then when those two meet, they can start their own intelligence program. That is why in the future people don't need to eat, because you give you manifest the souls you need to exist on soul level. Okay, I hope this was helpful.
Very interesting. Thank you, Arno.
You're welcome.
So what would happen to the probiotic enzymes if they're, I guess they would not be required, so they would not continue developing in the body. They wouldn't get what they need, and they would have to vacate the premises, basically.
The enzyme soul carries the program of the conditions that he has received and where it was received in. And that is why if you give freely, you know that feeling that you give, Rick, and you feel the vibration, then you also don't need to eat. You don't need to eat vegetables.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you wouldn't need the enzymes then, correct? Because the enzymes are there to break down the food. So if you don't need the food,
now on the moment we still need them, but we can receive them from our soul.
Right. Okay.
Think of you when you have fasted a long time, you have more energy.
That's right. The greatest point of energy in my entire life was after fasting for 10 days.
Because when you fast and you also working with your soul, with your love levels and with the other emotional levels, and you give freely, you don't expect something back, then you release a soul, a copy of yourself. And that soul is going to the brain, that radiation, and from the brain it's going through the nerves to the places where it's received. And then if you have enough, then the environment who is already conditioned to receive a certain soul, then the soul can receive the programming, because you have given a soul to manifest its purpose on the point where it's received. Do you understand what I'm saying, or do I need other words?
Yeah, hello? I think I get it. Yep, we hear you. People are pondering, no doubt. Okay, we had another question from YouTube from someone, Love FX. When talking about the MagRav technology, how much of, for example, the MagRav reactor's efficiency is soul-made, and how much of it is technology-based, as in correct nanostructure and GANs, etc.? That's kind of a good question. I'll ask it again just to be clear. When talking about the MagRav technology, how much of, for example, the MagRav reactor's efficiency is soul-made, and how much of it is technology-based, as in the correct nanostructure and GANs, etc.? Anybody care to weigh in on that? You're on a run, Arno. You probably have an answer.
Yeah, no, again with me, with Arno.
It is. It was always there because the soul has created everything. So in case the first case, it's 100% soul based, but in the metastate technology, it's also 100% metastate technology based. It's fusion technology. It's a science. So it's science and it's a soul, both 100%.
Right, you can't say how much in an exact figure, like 23% or something. It doesn't fit in this. We're talking about two different dimensions.
If there was no soul, there was no mygraph. And if there was soul, there was no mygraph. And if there was no creation, there was no science. Because science is a symptom of our existence. So without our existence, without the soul to manifest itself in our condition, how we experience life, there was no science. But in the science, it is 100% translatable. In the science of what Mr. Cash shared with us. And new science, the old science will change too, because they have many confirmations that it was different that they always have thought last year. Last 2 years, 3 years. It's going very rapidly.
Right, just in the phrase that's used, he mentions, LoveFX mentions, is it technology based as in correct nanostructure? Well, what is correct nanostructure, and does not correct nanostructure also incorporate part of the soul-based aspects as well? So there's again a cross-meshing of science and soul, and when you put your soul into the making of the nanostructure and the GANs, then it's different than perhaps a machine doing the same thing, or it's a different environment.
Yes, you must always work with your intention, but we all know that. Huh? The intention is the manifestation. The spark before the thought, before we start making it. The purpose what we created for. The servant is the manifester. Okay.
Okay, thanks Arno, and thanks for the questions. Anybody else have something they'd like to present today?
Maybe just a little bit, here before we get Carrie's stuff going. Just a few minutes.
What, from who again? Sorry.
From Carrie.
Oh, okay. I see.
Just a few minutes.
Okay, so we need to wait another minute or two. Is that what's happening, Flint?
Yeah, I'm getting a file here.
Okay.
So
This is where
you
you're
can
supposed
whistle
to.
or play the guitar.
I thought I was just going to say you could play the guitar. I don't play guitar.
Oh, neither.
Well, it's a good time to learn.
Yeah.
You could play learning guitar. I'm sure people would love to hear that. We should have an intermission sort of thing to play, but we don't right now. We're busy some
I
other
think
things.
a list of plasma jokes that have a learning factor built within them.
Oh, wouldn't that be good, Mark?
Yes.
I think you should start accumulating such a list. That would be so perfect. That just rang a bell. Like,
Yeah, I think
you know,
so.
100 top plasma jokes, and you could, you know, there's ways of changing a standard joke and make it a plasma joke and so on. I'm sure.
Maybe we could create a Dropbox and everybody could put their suggestions in there, and then you'll have a bunch to choose from.
Oh, okay. I'm ready here.
All right. Thanks. Good suggestion, Mark. And take it away, Flint.
Or yeah, go ahead, Carrie.
Cool. Thank you for doing it this way. I don't know. I just upgraded my computer, my system, so it seems to be. We'll have to figure that out. Anyway, I just simply love plasma ice. Ice made from our different devices and our plasma water station. And this is our water station. It looks a little chaotic. It kind of takes over our kitchen. There's a lot of, the main big 5-gallon jug has a lot of little vials placed around it. And it's just like an old t-shirt that's tying it together. Very simple. I mean, rudimentary, not fancy. And then we have some vials of other bottles of other different ganzas that I've made, and some other ganzas that are, I'm working with some different students that are knowledge seekers and who've been producing some really great ganzas of multiple foods or supplements or amino acids or herbs. And so we have some different formulas there, but it's all together. So you can go ahead to the next slide. This would be what, if we had just the vials of our main water station, this is neatly how that they would look. But I have all these extra things there too now. So go ahead. So this is literally our water from our water station, frozen in just a big bowl, like a big plastic mixing bowl. And I love it how it's got kind of a heart shape almost. And at the very center, that ball, it always shows up in our ice. And it is a ball that's like a torus field when you look at it up close. And then all the spokes of energy going out from it. Go ahead to the next slide. And this is just another picture of the same thing, just held a little differently. And I have tons of pictures of ice, but you'll see more here kind of showing some different aspects of this. Go ahead to the next one. And this is that same picture from the side. I was holding it up with the light coming through it, and this is showing that ball shape of the ice forming inside of it, and then the rays of energy coming out from it. And I believe the plasma part at the center, it will always freeze last. And it actually takes longer than regular ice to freeze, and takes it a long time to freeze. And a lot of times these will show a spiral form too, which we'll see in a minute. Go ahead. What's interesting is another person in another part of the world who is sharing the same water station with me. She made these bowls of ice in her freezer. There's kind of an art to doing this. You know, you pour a little water over it so you can see through it better when you're taking pictures. This is frosted up, but you can see that torus field plasma ball at the center of it. Go ahead, there's one more of these. And there's hers from the side. You've got the same formation in there. So I love seeing these because kind of comparing notes. Well, what's going on with your water station, you know? Go ahead. This was interesting. This was ice that we made out of a tooth formula. A formula for, it's actually a mouth and tooth formula to make it more healthy. So it has different herbs and ingredients in it that we would use for mouth health. And so it looks like it has a tooth coming out the top of it. And you can go ahead to the next one. This is what the bottom of it looks like. And it has that little ball in it. And then but it's interesting, there's a tooth shape in there. Go ahead to the next one. And again, this is another view of, it literally looks like there's teeth growing out of this. I've never seen anything like this in all the ice that I've made. So I thought this was pretty neat. Anyway, go ahead. So I always feel like when I'm freezing the plasma water that it's never in a container big enough to show everything that's there. So this time I froze it in a bucket, and it took it a long time to freeze. I think it took about 5 days to freeze. I can't remember exactly, but go ahead and we'll look at a few pictures of this. So this is showing there's that torus field ball at the center. We'll see a few more pictures of that. And then these different fields going out from it. And it's really neat because above the main plasma layer, and this could have even been a bigger container, you kind of see how it goes off the edges, but then it has that second field at the top. And on the right side, I think we can see this a little more in the pictures. Very often there's a section that looks like it's twisting. It always looks like our plasma water has been spinning, like there's a spinning field there as it makes the ice. Go ahead. And again, you can see that straight up and down section is the, it's kind of the area where you get this section that looks like it's spinning while it was freezing. Go ahead. And really beautiful just to be able to see that extra field. And there's the ball at the middle of it. I call it a torus field or a plasma ball. And our ices always seem to make this at the center. And then with the really beautiful little plasma rays coming out from it. Go ahead. Again, you're seeing the ball at the center. The ice is more melted. It's kind of a trick to gradually, if anybody wants to play with this, it's kind of a trick to gradually let your ice melt. I like setting it out in the sun. Sometimes we were pouring water over this one to get it to melt down a little bit. But then to get the light to shine through and be able to really catch what you're seeing there, they're amazing when you look at them in real life. I think my capturing photos is not as great as it could be as what we see visually. Go ahead. I can't remember if I did this one before because I've done so many videos on this lately, but this was a taxi driver where we live in Mexico, and there's an area we pick up taxis. They're called colectivos. So they give a bunch of people a ride in the same taxi. And we always get our rides from there when we come from town. And this guy ran into us a few weeks ago, and he said, I've been looking for you guys for 6 months. I couldn't wait to see you again and tell you. He said, last time I saw you, I gave you a ride. I gave you a ride home, and you gave me some of your water. And I had a cough for a year. And the cough just would not go away. I'd been to the hospital, I'd been to doctors, I'd taken antibiotics and all these different things. And he said, within 24 hours of drinking your water, I no longer had a cough. And he said, it's never come back since. And he said, I'm going to give you a ride, and I want another bottle of that water. And so we ended up running into him several times after that. And it takes a while for people to get, if you keep some of the plasma water in the bottle, you can just keep refilling that bottle. And really the fields are there. You could just refill it anyway, and you can potentize more water in your house. So he finally started getting that he'd say, oh, somebody would drink the water after I brought it home. But he finally got that he could use this bottle of water to potentize other water by setting it next to it. And then he also could drink this water and save a little bit in the bottom and refill it, and he would have the plasma fields there again. So I see a question here. How's this plasma water ice sculptures in place at all important in meetings of world leaders and all? Imagine the conditions created for world peace. Yes, I like that. They are conditions created for world peace. Go ahead. So this is a store-bought squash grown in this area, and go ahead. This is a squash grown in our garden, and just these amazing, beautiful living fields that have been watered with some of our plasma water and have GANs, bottles of, I have bottles with a little tiny bit of GANs in them, plastic bottles filled with water that are sitting around in the garden. And some are in a tripod formation, a starship formation, like Gachawa, Dr. Gachawa used to teach when I was around his work. Go ahead. And I've a number of dogs who've had distemper here. You can kind of scroll through these, Flint. Because we live in a very poor little village, there's a lot of sickness among the dogs, and I make a formula out of our plasma water, some essential oils, some charcoal, and I blend sardines with it so that it will, so the dogs will want to eat it. And we have many, many dogs getting well from all different kinds of sicknesses. So we're really appreciative of that. There are people who can't afford vets, and they're really grateful to have something that can help them. This dog, this particular one, his name is Negro, which means black in Spanish. They brought him to one of our spay and neuter clinics to have him put down. And the man turned around and took him home. He said, I want to help him live. And I went to their house the next day and I offered them our formula. I need a new picture of him because he's doing way better. He's starting to put some weight on his body and he's just lovely. He's only about a year old and he really got better. Go ahead. There's just one last picture there. What I really like, go ahead, Flint, one more. Yeah, and this is it's basically what we call a health pen, or a pain pen, which is twisted copper that's been nano-coated, and it was put over this cup of water in the freezer, and then it formed this ball in it as showing again the plasmatic fields. So what I love about this, it's just a really simple way to see what kind of fields you're making when you are working with the plasma tools. That's it. Anybody have any questions or anything? Thank you for showing those, Flint.
Yes, you're welcome. Wonderful.
We had Dean with his hand up. I'm not sure. Yes, thank you, Carrie. Really great to hear from you.
Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks,
Dean
you
had
guys.
his hand up. I'm not
Appreciate
sure if it was about that presentation or a previous one.
Beautiful ice pictures.
Hi, Dean.
Everybody, hi. I didn't mean to put my hand up, but peace be with you all.
All right.
But
now that it's up.
Yeah, but just the presentations have been incredible. And what Alex gave, I told my wife, I said, that was so beautifully and elegantly spoken. It was one of the most beautiful things I've heard. Thanks.
It's worth reviewing, isn't it? It's worth having
goodness,
a second or third listen to, because he jammed a lot into that presentation in every line. And he said he didn't have a prepared script. He just winged it through because he knows his subject quite thoroughly. So
anyway, thanks guys. Peace out.
Rick, I do see, I kind of understand Mark Carlton's message here. I think it's Mark Carlton Anderson. How's this? plasma water ice sculptures in place at all important meetings of world leaders. What a grand idea.
Yes.
I love it.
I laughed when I read it.
Oh, I didn't quite get it because I was talking at the same time, but I love it. Imagine the conditions created for world peace. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Great idea.
And
you need a big freezer.
and ice that is given there at the conference, drinks and stuff. It's all plasma wise.
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant.
And plasma water.
And yeah, it's funny. And you make it in a certain, shape that's a reminder of plasma, whatever that is. And
it'd be a nice touch for all these world conferences they're doing.
It'd be great maybe to put a little vial or something taped onto the ice machines, because I go to a lot of hotels. Then it'd be in all of the ice that is actually produced by the machine.
Yes.
We need ice machine pads.
Yes, because that's all you need to do is put plasma patches on everything. Like we know now that the dry paper towels dried in this plasma water will potentize an entire station. So
can you imagine? All we need is a piece of tape.
Yeah.
Or all the restaurants that have ice machines.
Well, I mean, on the door, you put a sticker or whatever. We can really accelerate this thing by, a package of 100 pieces of tape.
I have friends that are using just Band-Aids that have a square cloth in the middle of them, and they dip that in the plasma water and let it dry, and then they put it on areas of the body, or you can put it on a bottle, or very simple little plasma patch already made. You have to potentize it, but
you put a little bit of Epsom salt would be a good way to potentize it, I believe, because Epsom salt is great for working with Band-Aids and drawing out poisons and that kind of thing.
Well, I was saying just put a drop of the plasma water on it and let it dry, and then you have something you can potentize things with.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else would be sort of something that would be like a Band-Aid stuck to the side of a Coke machine or something? It's probably gonna be, oh, someone put a Band-Aid here and someone's gonna take it off. But what if it was some kind of cool sticker or some kind of thing that looked like it was supposed to already be there?
It can be clear. It doesn't need to be something that is seen. And this is a great idea.
Some clear tape, like the packing tape. A roll, you have a pre-made roll and just, and stick it on, and someone left a bit of tape there. It probably wouldn't even come off for many months.
They wouldn't, they're not going to think about it. Think about it. I mean, a janitor, he's not going to care if there's a piece of clear tape on there. This is a really good idea for a product.
I also take a paper towel and just dip it in our plasma water and let it dry out in the sun. And then I snip it up into little pieces with the scissors. And so I have little tiny pieces and I add them to various things. So
such as what are you thinking?
Well, like if I make organite, I'll add, that's the way I add my GANs to it. So because you can't add it wet.
So
but you can
the resin absorbs right into the fibers basically, and
right. And right now, I'm just having a friend send me an amazing herbal tincture from Hawaii, and I can't receive packages in Mexico, but I can receive a letter. So he's going to put some drops of that herbal tincture on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to cut that out when it gets here and put it in a GANs making process. And I'll have GANs of that herbal tincture. And it's from some amazing healing tree from Africa. So
plus the GANs of the paper.
Yeah, well, yeah. But it's really, when you start working with this in this way, it's so exciting what you can do. And really, remember in the old days when we'd put GANs in balls and you thought you had to have a whole bunch of liquid GANs in there. And then we started using gel, and then we started drying it out and just painting some on there. And it's the same thing with a paper towel, just in a plasma water station, without it even having to go in the GANs. It's carrying those fields. It's amazing. It's very cool.
I remember the old days back in
Yeah.
the old days when we had those rotating reactors.
Yeah, like 5 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yep. Well, five plasma years.
3 years ago, yeah.
A plasma year's like 10 years of normal years. So it's
Definitely.
like 50 years ago.
We're on a rocket ship, a plasma
normal
rocket
years.
ship.
Yep. You can hitch a ride on the plasma rocket ship. Actually, rocket ship is not quite correct, but
I thought that when I
spaceship,
said it.
spaceship.
Yeah.
But rocket ship's a nice image. That's the image I've had since 1950s when I was born, and back then that's what the image was in the 50s and 60s, and still is. I mean, you look at the so-called latest and greatest of the most high-tech rocket launching places, which is SpaceX, run by Elon Musk, latest in technology and so on. Look at their latest rocket design, and it looks exactly like something of the 1950s. It's sort of this fat-looking rocket with big fins on the back and so on, and stainless steel. And I just laugh, and it's really kind of funky looking, but that's what he's going to be shooting toward Mars with, in this rocket engines blasting out the back. Somehow it doesn't seem to be the correct way to go about things. So hopefully the technology will be going forward in the new year coming up, and we'll see some a shift away from the fire and brimstone kind of technology of mankind. Alrighty, anybody else have something they'd like to bring up here? It's a question from Bert in the YouTube. There's two questions. Why is the MagRav power system not available yet on the Keshe Foundation web store? It's explained that the cost reduction is 60%, and the link below leads to the web shop, but no power of tech available. That may be because there's problems with the factory, and until the new factory gets production going again, then it may be a glitch in the availability of the power system, and it may be superseded as well in the near future. But he also asks, is plasma tech compatible with the Searle effect generator? The Searle effect generator, the SEG, which is basically some rotating magnets and coils and whatnot, and supposedly gave anti-gravity or lift type effects back, I think it was a couple of decades ago. I think that John Bliven would be the person to talk to about that. I believe he was involved with the Searle effect generator folks, and he's now involved with the plasma technology. There is some cross linking there, and it's too much for us to get into in this testimonials group, I think. But it is something, if we could get John into the plasma reactor group, it'd be a perfect place to get into that in detail. And it's also, I think, been discussed a couple of times in the Knowledge Seekers workshop with John a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, if anybody has any details about that, then they can speak. Otherwise, we'll go ahead to the next topic. I like Alex's comment in the chat here. My other car is a chariot of fire. How about my other car is a plasma spaceship? That'd be a good bumper sticker. I'd put it on my bumper.
Yeah.
In fact,
hello, Rick.
It's almost worth making up. I better write that down before I forget.
Rick?
Yes.
Would you like me to send you my copy?
Your copy
of my bumper sticker?
What is that? Is that your bumper sticker? My other car is a chariot of fire?
No, my other car is a spaceship.
Is it? Seriously?
I was going to show it tomorrow. Yeah, I was going to send it
You
to you.
got to put plasma in there. My other car is a plasma spaceship.
No, it's too confusing.
I know, but that's the whole purpose. You want to confuse them, not to give them an image they already think, oh, spaceship, rocket.
I'll send you my mock-up. See what you think.
All right, great.
I'm
Thank you,
seriously
Alex. I
thinking
think we need to have bumper stickers. In fact, I think they might be able to get them through Zazzle or some other place that we already have an account with. And we could set it up to make them available, perhaps.
Yeah, but you have to make them classy enough so they can put it on a Jaguar or a Lamborghini.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Or a
Maybe,
McLaren.
gold plated or something.
My friend has a McLaren.
That's a good bump. That's a bumper sticker. That's a good bumper sticker. My friend has a McLaren. You stick it on your old beater, you know.
You mean 2 bumper stickers? Okay, we're having too much fun.
Yeah, that's right. The fun's not allowed in this workshop. No, I'm just kidding, but we are getting a little carried away because we're supposed to be in testimonials here. But this is a testimonial of instant communication with Alex and I on this bumper sticker that he already has, and I had no idea.
Oh, give me a minute. I'm going to send it to you.
Oh, jeez. This era of instant communications is too much. Okay, in the meantime, does anyone else have something they'd like to present here in the testimonials group? Maybe something that's occurred or something that you've run into that's somewhat amazing that people might be interested in. Perhaps project you're working on.
If not, we're heading toward the 2-hour mark.
Yes, let me see if I get the secret message from Alex or not here. I don't know if that'll be relevant, but yeah, that's right. And we don't have to continue. We were going to go 2.5 hours maximum anyways. And if we don't have further presentations, I don't have anything new in the testimonials website there. Let's see, what else do we have? Going once, going twice. Well, Flint, what do you think? Peggy, any inputs, or shall we call it a day for today? Okay, too much data time. We have to call it a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about 2 hours in. Yeah, if we're
Yeah. Well, we've all got
everybody's-
busy days and lives to live and
Yeah.
things to teach and things to do. So let's call it a day today. We've had some really lovely presentations, and
Yeah.
I think that one from Alex alone is worth making maybe another video of and have
Yeah, it's a good
special video.
good package there for people that don't know anything about Cash Foundation. That's a good intro.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, I did receive a photo from, let me just check it here. Okay, I gotta show this. This is
Do you
lovely.
approve?
Oh, it's lovely. I don't know if it's officially approved, but
Well,
it's
don't show it
beautiful.
then. Don't show it.
Well,
Okay.
it's, you know, it's
I did it as a joke, but I'm gonna print them.
well, let me show it here because it's so cute that I think
It's
it's
cute.
not finalized anyway. It's not a final prototype
No,
because
it's
it
cute.
needs to be cleaned up and whatnot anyway. So we'll just have an ending little picture of it, and I think it's lovely to show your work, Alex. Blame it on you. So let me.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You need the inspiration. There's the image. And
I love it.
isn't it beautiful? My other car is a spaceship, and it explains it all there, Alex. I didn't understand. I thought rocket ship or something, but no, you've got it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay, Peggy, I'm taking orders.
Of course, this is showing the Canadian
We can
KFC
change.
SSI.
We have the technology.
Yeah, it should be more universal probably. And
So
we
you're
would have
taking-
to get approval from Mr. Cash, I suppose. But geez, I think it's really beautiful. I
You're
can
taking
see it
orders
as a
for the-
bumper sticker.
You're
Make
taking
it
orders for the
plasma
spaceship?
spaceship.
Yeah, I would put in plasma spaceship
Oh,
and
you
make
guys.
and listen, Alex, make it longer so that really now, because the bumper stickers are usually a little bit longer format and narrower, and then the other car is a plasma spaceship, makes it perfect, and make the image a little bit bigger so it fits in between perfectly, and you've got it nailed. It would be so nice, and I'll take 10 of them right off the bat.
Okay, I need to get Flint to help me with the graphics there.
Okay,
Yeah.
but before we go ahead with all this, I mean, it's a great, it's lovely, and before we put the KF logo on anything, We have to get approval from the
It
Cash
just has
Foundation
to be
management.
tasteful. It has to be tasteful so you can put it on your Rolls Royce.
Exactly. So come up with a final product with the KF logo on it and the picture of the unit and the other cars as plasma spaceship, and let's submit it to the management. You can send it to me or send it directly to management or whatever, to Mr. Kesh, and we'll get it approved and let's start production. I think it'll be perfect. We need to get them out right away.
Oh, you're killing me, Rick. Okay, thank you.
No, seriously, it's a beautiful idea, Alex. I love it. Everyone loves it. I mean, people laughed. It's surprising. It's lovely.
There we go.
It'll make people ask questions. What is this thing? What are you talking about? Plasma spaceship? What is this? And then you get to explain. Well, it's the enhancement unit, blah blah blah, and all the whole thing, the whole story, whatever they're willing to listen to in the 30 seconds before their hair appointment. Okay, very good. Lovely way to end. Thank you, Alex. Okay, I think you can take over again, Flint, and thank you everybody for today's workshop.
Yes, thank you for some great presentations today, Carrie and Alex. Okay, the next one will be in January. So this is obviously the last one for this year, and January 13th is our next one. Same time, same number. Also, January 13th is the start of the new trimester in 2020 for the classes, the private classes. So thank you all for coming. This has been the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute 37th Public Testimonial Meeting in English and other languages, but we just had primarily English today for Monday, December 9th, 2019. Have a good rest of your day. Yes. Yes, Joel. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, or evening, and we'll see you next time. Next week is we'll be continuing on with just the KPRG, Keshe
Plasma reactor group.
Yep, with
Yep,
Rick.
with me.
And then the Knowledge Seekers workshops on Thursdays. Those will continue out every week as they normally do, Thursday mornings at 9 a.m. Central European time on this channel. So both of those will be continuing throughout the break.
So no private teachings through next week. Is that?
Yes, this coming Friday. Yes, coming Friday is the end of the
correct
2019 last or third trimester. Friday the 13th.
Oh, how auspicious!
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Flint.
Okay, we'll see you all next time.
Hello. We are the Keshe Foundation. Our mission is to bring peace on earth and join humanity with the universal community. We wish and work to bring man as equal to all beings in the universe. By teaching plasma science and technology equally to everyone, no one is left out and no one is abused due to lack of knowledge. By donating to us, you can help achieve this goal. KesheFoundation.org/donate